Hello again, everybody. This is John and Glenn. Today we're going to be reviewing the Parsley tea. It was recently featured on the Dr. Oz TV show. So we want to give you guys some details. Sometimes it's only covered, just kind of the broad details, so we'll see if we can find more research and evidence for you guys. That's the purpose of why we do these videos for you guys. So, Glenn, what was it purported to do on the Dr. Oz show? And then we can cover what we were able to find in terms of research.
Yeah, he was recommending it for problem areas with belly fat, and more importantly, the underarms. He did say that it's a natural diuretic and it may help balance hormones in the body. And the thought is that by balancing those hormones, it may keep you from storing extra fat in problem areas, i.e. underarms.
Yeah, the idea being is that, fat storage, as we come to understand it, sometimes is a little oversimplified, and we're going to have a series of videos that we'll be rolling out on nutrition, how to get lean, and really what it comes down to, because there's so much information out there. We can see how people can get overloaded. We hear so much stuff, and there are some general rules of thumbs, but bottom line is humans are biological organisms. We're not physical beings, so it is calories in, calories out, but how people react to those calories is going to be a little bit different based on the endocrine system, all the way down to bacteria in your gut and how they send signals and so on and so forth. So while we do apply some of the laws of thermodynamics, such as calories in, calories out, how they affect different people and how people partition fuel is a little bit different, and that's sometimes where the confusion comes in. Us being biological organisms and not physical things where we could just simply, like an engine, where we can apply a simple formula, that is true, but there is some nuance there. So that's what we're going to uncover in those videos. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that, because this is our first video that we're doing on this channel. So we will have that coming out. So as you said, these hormones can affect possibly the storage of fat, and the idea is that this will help.
The idea is that there is some fatty acids inside here that may help with the balancing of hormones, specifically in women.
Okay. And what were you able to find in terms of empirical evidence? Sometimes with herbs, it's a lot of hearsay, or this was used in ancient India or China. It's not to say that those effects aren't there, but we like to see some, human evidence to validate that.
The human evidence I found is that it is a natural diuretic, meaning that it can help remove some of the water, increase the volume of fluid in the bladder, and then you urinate that out. So yes, it can draw some water out of the body. That is I guess you can call it a superficial weight loss, because you are going to be losing some weight from the loss of the water.
Yeah, that can trick people sometimes based on, that's why sometimes the scale is not the best thing, or caffeine can have a similar effect, but over time people tend to adapt to the effects of caffeine, so the diuretic effect tends to go away in terms of that. So maybe in the short term and in an acute sense it could help decrease water weight, so there is something to that. Now, it's a Mediterranean plant, and it's usually used as a garnish, obviously. Now, what would be the benefit of having it in a tea based on evidence you could find? I know it's a source of vitamin C, but
yeah,
what else?
It's a source of vitamin C, and it actually is the highest source of iron of any green vegetable, so that's something to think about also. A lot of vitamin A, vitamin B. So it is loaded with vitamins. It has some antioxidant qualities, so you're probably going to be getting a fair or a good amount of these vitamins by taking in the tea. And I do believe that Dr. Oz had recommended something like 6 tea bags per serving.
And what is this based on? What is he basing that on? What about research on actually helping burn body fat? Was there any actual evidence that you saw? I know I couldn't find
nothing on actual burning of body fat. A lot of it had to do with the water, and I didn't find anything on regulating the hormones with those fatty acids.
Okay. So it's probably based on like Ayurvedic medicine and some ideas that are passed between those doctors. So, for our criteria, typically we like to see human evidence. That doesn't mean that these effects don't exist. It's just that it's good to have them validated. The nice thing with something like parsley tea is it's cheap, so it's not going to hurt to try. Now, there was some questions that we have gotten about how it may affect women who are pregnant, that it can cause, the onset of an abortion. We researched that. That turns out that it's actually an old wives' tale, in the sense that it used to be, back in the day, plants were used, and this happened to be one of them. By taking an excess amount of them, that maybe it can cause an abortion before surgical techniques, what have you, for that. We couldn't find anything basically validating that. There's no evidence of that. It's basically been repeated on forums, and then it's, it must be fact if it was said by this and that, and it kind of spreads like wildfire. So if you are concerned, if you are pregnant, then just don't take it. That would be our advice. But there's really no empirical evidence, so it's not like if you go ask your doctor, well, let's do that. He won't know either, because there's no evidence to say that. So I'm sure if you're pregnant, you're going to encounter food and stuff where you're going to be eating parsley. Maybe just limit your use of it, or just don't use it at all. If you want to be 100% safe, if you are concerned still based upon that, then by all means, our recommendation would be it's always best not to take it. And typically we'd say consult your physician, but If your physician tells you, well, this is the case, well, it's pie in the sky from him too, because quite frankly, or her, it's not. There's no evidence out there showing that. I couldn't find anything.
No.
All that I found, I did find on PubMed, basically that the origin of it is based on old wives' tales. So that's really what it comes down to. Anything else on this? Any other questions, things that have come up?
No.
Okay.
Not that I can think of. This is 30 tea bags, so if you are taking 6 per day,
Yeah.
or I should say 6 tea bags, so you're looking at a 5-day supply.
Mm-hmm.
So you may need a couple. Luckily, this isn't pretty inexpensive. I think it's like $5 to $6.
Yeah, so it's cheap,
Yeah.
and it's certainly not going to be bad for you if you're, drinking a Parsley tea. We don't worry about that. We already mentioned the pregnancy thing, but otherwise healthy individuals, we can be confident in saying that. Also, if more evidence does come out, human studies, things like that are beyond the anecdotal, we'll be happy to update the video and share them with you. That's the purpose of this channel. This is why we're putting it out there, because we get a lot of questions on these things when they're mentioned on the Dr. Oz show. And some things have a lot of empirical evidence that we could point to and say, hey, here it is. We've been in this industry for a long time. We both have backgrounds in science, with bachelor's degrees in science. That's what we do. And we've taken it into this industry between the two of us. We've got over 20 years experience in the industry. So we've seen it all, so to speak, over that time. And we're always learning new stuff. We have open minds. As evidence change, we're more than willing to say, hey, we were wrong about this, but we may not have been wrong at that time. But when new stuff comes out, you have to be willing to roll with the changes and say this or that. So
exactly. Hopefully the attention that Dr. Oz is bringing to this industry will cause more human clinical trials and studies to be done.
Yeah, there's a lot of alarmism out there that comes out, especially with the industry, it should be regulated and so on, because I guess people apparently are dropping dead from vitamins, tongue fully planted in cheek here on that one. But that's just not the case. So that's kind of our criteria for how we judge things. We hope we're able to pass along good information for you guys here. As we said, we're going to have a series of other videos coming out. This just happens to be our first one. We hope we're helpful for you guys and can help you guys sort through all the muck that's out there in the internet and that space of all that crazy information that can sometimes be very confusing. So the new channel, you can check us out at facebook.com/supplements as seen on TV. .com, obviously, right? Or facebook.com/supplements as seen on TV.
Yes, no .com.
No .com, yeah. I know how you all work, and I messed that up. So, all right, so post questions if you have them. We're happy to answer. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.